Hello and welcome to Salty About Health. My name is Dalaney Algier, and I'm here with my mom and co-host, Mary. So, Mom, why are we salty about health?
Good question. It's because both of us have had struggles, some more serious than others, and no one showed us simple ways we could jump into the driver's seat and take control.
And why are we sharing our views with our listeners?
Well, because we want our listeners to realize that it may take time, but with some simple knowledge about health, they'll be able to make a few changes and dig deeper to take control of their well being and live a more vibrant life.
That's fantastic. But right now, before we get into all of that, we just need to do some housekeeping. Here we go. This is an opinion-based podcast. This is not in any way offered as a diagnosis or treatment for any disease, illness, or infirmity for physical or mental condition or any other condition you may have. We are not doctors or practitioners of any kind. Persons needing medical care should obtain it from a medical practitioner. So, consult your practitioner before making any health decision. The opinions offered here in this podcast are ours alone. Again, we're not doctors, and the banter you're going to be listening to is our view and our view alone. Okay, that's done. We, of course, also want to have an open dialogue with our listeners. So stay tuned to the end of the episode, and we'll let you know all of the ways that we can connect. Welcome, everyone. We are so happy to have you here for episode 38. Mom was recently reading an article that went over many basic health and nutritional tips and thought our listeners would really benefit from the information, and also Delaney.
That's right, Delaney. We are going through trying times with the pandemic, as well as other health issues many of our listeners have to combat every day. And I want to remind our listeners that everyday choices can affect their health, and we want our listeners' choices to affect them in a positive way.
Yes, so let's jump right into this. We are going to go over a number of wellness tips that are well supported by research. And as usual, we will have a link to the article in our notes on our saltyabout.health.com website. And all the references to the studies are listed in that article, which Mom found on healthline.com.
Okay, so no surprise here. Our listeners will benefit from limiting sugary drinks. Sugary drinks like sodas, fruit juices, and sweetened teas are the primary source of added sugar in the American diet. Unfortunately, findings from several studies point to sugar sweetened beverages as increasing risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes, even in people who are not carrying excessive body fat. Sugar sweetened beverages are also uniquely harmful for children, as they can contribute not only to obesity in children, but also to conditions that usually do not develop until adulthood. Again, like type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and non alcoholic fatty liver disease. Some healthy alternatives would be, water, which you can put lemon in, or cucumbers or mint, unsweetened teas. And again, unsweetened teas, you can add mint, things like that.
Yep.
Sparkling water and coffee, just drink it black. And unsweetened herbal teas. There's so many unsweetened herbal teas.
And there's all those ones with health benefits that we talked about last episode.
Exactly. So you could get one that has a health benefit and put it with one that's maybe a little more sweeter.
Yes.
Just naturally like a flower. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's so easy. Yeah.
Mhm.
And they taste good.
They do. Because what did I did the other day? I did my turmeric ginger with my raspberry pizzazz.
Oh, yum. That
Right?
sounds
It was good.
good.
It was very tasty.
Mm.
So, but besides drinks, one of my favorite nutritious snacks are nuts and seeds. I just got this mix that was like pistachio based with all the other nuts and stuff around it. It's really good. uh, so some people fear nuts because they're high in fat. However, nuts and seeds are incredibly nutritious because remember, there is good fat and that feeds your brain. So, always all good things.
And it helps your hormones too.
And your hormones, ladies.
Exactly. You don't want to go on a no fat diet. Your libido will suffer.
Oh.
Eat nuts.
Eat nuts. Go nuts for nuts. Just kidding. So nuts are also packed with protein and fiber, which me personally, I was really having to work on adding fiber because on a gluten-free diet, that's something, a lot of people use like fortified breads or whatever for that, and that cannot be my go-to. So nuts are good for that. And also a variety of vitamins and minerals. They can actually help you lose weight and reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes and heart disease. I like to think because with the fat and the protein in them, when you use them as a snack, I think you don't get hungry as fast, right? And instead of a bowl of cereal, if you're doing those nuts and stuff, like, oh my gosh, mom and I love to do like muesli. So you do like nuts with like muesli and yogurt, like that is a breakfast that will satisfy.
Yeah.
And additionally, one large observational study noted that a low intake of nuts and seeds was potentially linked to an increased risk of death from heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes.
Again, no surprise here. Avoid ultra processed foods because these foods contain ingredients that are significantly modified from their original form. They often contain additives like added sugar, highly refined oil, salt, preservatives, artificial sweeteners, colors, and flavors as well. Examples include your snack cakes, your fast food, your frozen meals, canned foods, chips. Ultra processed foods are highly palatable, so they are easily overeaten and activate reward related regions in the brain, which can lead to excess calorie consumption and weight gain. Studies show that diets high in ultra processed food can contribute to obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic conditions. In addition to low quality ingredients like inflammatory fats, added sugar, and refined grains, they're usually low in fiber, protein, and micronutrients. Thus, they provide mostly empty calories. Now, saying that, there's some, you can go to some fast food places and it's responsibly sourced and it's whole food. I don't know if we should say names. So there's like Chipotle and Cava both have, real food that you can eat.
Yeah.
And some canned foods, I prefer frozen, but you can get organic beans and vegetables in canned foods and some frozen meals too, Amy's, things like that they're coming out with. But anything that's ultra processed. So that's what you really need to look for. And I don't have anything against those Beyond Burgers, but people really need to look at the ingredients in some of those. Some are much better than the others because they have their oils and just they're very processed.
Well, and for women too, like the soy and stuff, you really need to look at.
And if that's an issue for you, that would be. But if you really look at the ingredients in some of the processed food, it's just not good, even if they say it's healthy. And then other foods, if they're not that bad because you can get frozen meals that are just your meat, vegetable, side of beans, whatever.
Yeah.
So we don't want to slam everything, but just read your labels.
Right. And there's some chips and stuff that are just like corn, oil, salt or something. So it's like, if you really need that fix, like, I think you said this before, Mom, like with people that you've helped, it's like, okay, like you need whatever that food thing is, like you aren't willing to give it up, but like find the healthy version of it.
Exactly. And some people say, well, I need that crunch. So if they don't want vegetables and hummus, then there's, like you just said, 3 ingredients in corn chips. And, you go for the non-GMO or the organic and not any of the seed oils are highly inflammatory, something like that. And I will say, you'll hear us say a lot about type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic conditions. What they're talking about is basically you have metabolic syndrome, which is basically type 3 diabetes. as they call it. So all these things that instead of just saying type 2 diabetes, you get everything with it, inflammation, high cholesterol, this and that. It's metabolic disease, and that comes a lot from eating over processed food.
But apparently you do not need to fear coffee, though I don't drink it. Smells good. I just can't get past that. And the taste is not great. Anyways, despite the controversy over it, because I feel like it's almost like wine and dark chocolate. It's one of these things like it's good, it's bad, it's good. Coffee is loaded with some health benefits. It is rich in antioxidants, and some studies have linked coffee intake to longevity and a reduced risk of type 2 diabetes, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's disease, and numerous other illnesses. The most beneficial intake amount appears to be between 2 to 4 cups a day, although pregnant women should limit or avoid it completely because it has been linked to low birth weight. However, it's best to consume coffee and any caffeine-based items in moderation. Excessive caffeine intake may lead to health issues like insomnia and heart palpitations. To enjoy coffee in a safe and healthy way, keep your intake to less than 4 cups a day and avoid high-calorie, high-sugar additives like sweetened creamer. We know pumpkin spice creamers are back on the shelves, but just moderated.
Or you can go to your local health food store. They always have the healthy version, or make your own healthier version. Okay, so the next one is something I need to work on, and that is eating more fatty fish. And I did that yesterday. I ate some fish.
Fatty fish?
It was. I love fish, but I do not like to cook it in my house because I don't like the smell. It is so weird. I don't have a lot of hangups, but that's one of them.
Yeah.
And so I just got over it and I cooked the fish. Because when you go out, like I get fresh caught and flash frozen and pole caught, whatever, not farm raised.
Yeah.
And you don't really know what you're getting when you go out, but I just don't like the smell. But anyway, fish is a great source of high quality protein and healthy fat. This is particularly true of fatty fish, such as salmon, lake trout, herring, sardines, and mackerel, which are loaded with anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids and various other nutrients. Studies show that people who eat fish regularly have a lower risk of several conditions, including heart disease, dementia, and inflammatory bowel disease. And I will say that I read an article once and they broke down the omega-3, omega-6, et cetera, et cetera. And really, you just need a really good source of fish twice a week to meet those needs. So,
I usually find herring and sardines gross, but when I went on my trip, we had sardines, but like they were bigger than how they come in the grocery store here, because here they just come like in water or oil in these like sad little fillets of grossness. But I had the whole fish, like just chop the head off and that was it. That was good.
Oh, I bet.
I ate a pile of those. Oh my goodness.
Oh, yum.
So yeah. So I don't know. Try to find that kind. I don't know how you find like the bigger ones, but dang, that was better. Okay. Something that both mom and I struggle with because we are night owls is getting enough sleep. The importance of getting enough quality sleep cannot be overstated unless you're my husband who tries to remind me every day. Poor sleep can drive insulin resistance, disrupt your appetite, hormones, and reduce your physical and mental performance. What's more, poor sleep is one of the strongest individual risk factors for weight gain and obesity. People who do not get enough sleep tend to make food choices that are higher in unhealthy fat, sugar, and calories, potentially leading to unwanted weight gain.
Okay, so next, feed your gut bacteria. The bacteria in your gut, collectively called the gut microbiota, are incredibly important for overall health. A disruption in gut bacteria is linked to some chronic diseases, including obesity and a myriad of digestive issues. Good ways to improve gut health include eating probiotic foods like yogurt and sauerkraut. I left out kimchi, one of Delaney's favorite.
And
Um,
kombucha.
there you go. Taking probiotic supplements and eating plenty of fiber. Fiber serves as a prebiotic or a food source for your gut bacteria. I have about 3 probiotics that I have and I take when I'm not getting probiotics from fermented foods. One is a soil biotic, another is for people with histamine issues, which I have. So you do have to watch out because some probiotics will make that worse and you'll get a migraine. So there are sites that will sell probiotics to people, for people with histamine issues. And the last one is made by Garden of Life and is a prenatal one. So I was surprised. I don't know why, but my body really likes this one. And I do take it more often than the others.
And then there's another one that I have a problem with, staying hydrated. I have gotten better about that, but then also sometimes it's just still tough.
Your husband doesn't harp on you for that? Just sleep?
I even tried to be better about it at work. So at work, I had brought in a water filter. So instead of making the excuse that I can't constantly walk to the water fountain at work to get water in my cup, I have a big old zero water filter at my desk full of water. So like I have to constantly fill my cup. So
or you could just bring in a huge mason jar and put mint leaves and lemon in it and fill that up with water in the morning and then just drink that.
Yeah. So it's a work in progress.
You're trying.
I am. It's gotten a lot better. Hydration is very important. It's an often overlooked marker of health. Staying hydrated helps ensure that your body is functioning optimally and that your blood volume is sufficient. Drinking water is the best way to stay hydrated, and it's free of calories, sugar, and additives. One rule of thumb for how much water is sufficient is to drink half your body weight in ounces. So I definitely don't do that. Yes.
Well, you should either lose weight or
right?
up your water.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so don't eat heavily charred meats. Meat is a nutritious and healthy part of your diet. It's very high in protein and a rich source of nutrients. However, problems occur when meat is charred or burned. This charring can lead to the formation of harmful compounds that may increase your risk for certain cancers. Additionally, you may want to limit your consumption of processed meats like lunch meats and bacon, as these are linked to overall cancer risk and colon cancer risk, which is very true. They've done a lot of study on meat and they gave red meat a bad rap, but actually it is processed meats, which I've given up unless you're at a cookout or something, and then you get the double whammy because you like your hot dogs charred and burned. Yes, if you can give up processed meats and then try not to overcook your meat.
Also, avoid bright lights before sleep. I feel like we also just talked about this on another episode. When you're exposed to those bright lights, which contain blue light wavelengths, again, Mom and I are wearing our blue light glasses. They're cheap on the internet, everyone. In the evening, it may disrupt your production of the sleep hormone melatonin, which we also know that melatonin is keeping those gray hairs at bay. So look at that. Glasses that can prevent gray hair, basically. Some ways to help reduce your blue light exposure is to wear blue light blocking glasses. Again, like these ones, which you can't see, but they're pretty great. Especially if you use a computer or other digital screens for long periods of time. So I have a pair at home and at work as well, because I also have fluorescent lights at work. So double struggle there. And to avoid digital screens for 30 minutes to an hour before going to bed, That includes our phones, everyone. So I've been trying to get better about setting my alarm on my phone, putting it down, and then doing my nighttime routine. Again, all to help your body better produce that melatonin naturally as the evening progresses, so you sleep better.
Okay, and I know everybody's heard this a lot lately. Get your vitamin D levels checked. Maintaining adequate vitamin D levels can help to optimize your health by improving bone strength, reducing symptoms of depression, strengthening your immune system, and lowering your risk for cancer. If you do not spend a lot of time in the sunlight, your vitamin D levels may be low. If you are low, you can correct your levels through vitamin D supplementation if necessary. And I know that since I've been working in an office the last 4 years, my vitamin D level had gone down. And I can't stress enough how much it works for depression. And if people are depressed, get your vitamin D levels checked. I mean, everybody should know your vitamin D levels, and it's an easy blood test. And we had one client in the office, and one of his family members was depressed. And I said, try to get them to take vitamin D. And it was night and day. He started taking vitamin D, and night and day. So came back to life, I think is what the person said.
Aww. That's so great, because that, like, I mean, a lot of people, it is maybe something else, so they do need like medication and stuff for depression.
Well, you should always go to your doctor. Yeah.
Right. But like, imagine like, oh my gosh, such an easier fix, like, than having to figure out other medications. It's just like,
oh yeah, a lot
boom.
of times it's nutrient deficiencies that
Yeah,
cause a
like
lot of
how
our
nice.
issues. And I knew a client I had a long time ago. She was on antidepressants and finally got her vitamin D level checked. And I've never in my life seen one this low. It was a single digit number. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so, that's a possibility. You really need to get those checked.
Well, so another thing, eat your fruits and vegetables. I think Mom and I like to tease people when they're like, oh, Dalaney, you're so tall. And we're always like, because Mom made Dalaney eat vegetables.
That's right. That's what I say.
But vegetables and fruits are loaded with prebiotic fiber, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, many of which have potential health effects. Studies show that people who eat more vegetables and fruits tend to live longer and have a lower risk for heart disease, obesity, and other illnesses. And it's pretty cool because one of my husband's cousins, her kids, it was pretty cool to see them just like come to family cookouts, and other people would be like, oh my gosh, dessert. And then one of her kids would just be like, Mom, can you like just give me a plate of carrots? And you're like, yeah, look at that kid go.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, eat adequate protein. Eating enough protein is vital for optimal health as it provides the raw materials your body needs to create new cells and tissues. High protein intake may boost your metabolic rate or calorie burn while making you feel full. It may also reduce cravings and your desire to snack late at night. And I cannot emphasize enough, as people get older, they need more protein. I mean, obviously, you want to go to your doctors and this and that, because if you have kidney issues, but protein is so important. And a lot of people stop eating their protein, and then you have muscle wasting, things like that.
Yeah. So another thing to help yourself out is to get moving. Doing aerobic exercise or cardio is one of the best things that you can do for your mental and physical health. I'd like to point out that I now walk every Monday through Thursday with one of my coworkers. Mom, you would love her. She walks about at your pace. So I really do almost a light jog every day at lunch now for 30 minutes. So my cardio is vastly improving from that. It's particularly effective at reducing belly fat, the harmful type of fat that builds up around your organs. Reducing belly fat may lead to major improvements in your metabolic health. And according to the physical activity guidelines for Americans, we should strive for at least 150 minutes of moderately intensive activities each week.
So there you go. I think you're hitting your goal.
Yeah. That with that in volleyball, boom.
Okay, so don't smoke or use drugs and only drink in moderation. Smoking, harmful use of drugs, and alcohol abuse can negatively affect your health. If you do any of these actions, consider cutting back or quitting to help reduce your risk for chronic diseases. There are resources available online and likely in your local community as well to help with this. A lot of times, people who have issues with that are very low in certain nutrients, especially minerals. So if you get like a good vitamin mineral supplement and start doing that, that can help with cravings.
And another thing that we all crave, minimize your sugar intake. So added sugar is extremely prevalent in modern food and drinks. Actually, I just talked to somebody today and we were talking about how we like to spice up our marinara sauce. And me, I'm like, yeah, garlic, fresh basil, like, herbs and spices. And his go-to was like, sugar, this, that. And I was like, no.
Your grandmother used to put sugar in her spaghetti sauce. I hated that. I hate that taste. And your grandfather didn't like it either. So
I
just
the same person.
remember I was in Arizona or Colorado.
Yes, was it the Peter Piper pizza? I'm gonna call you out, Peter Piper pizza. That was nasty.
Yeah, it was so sweet, wasn't it? It was gross.
Fight me about it. That was disgusting. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely put sugar or something in there. Oh my gosh.
Yes, I'm
so
glad you
gross.
remember.
No, I'm still upset about it. This was for a child who moved from Europe. So like I will openly say, like, as a kid, I didn't like real pizza either from Italy, and they definitely don't add any sugar. So like both ways, I guess I needed like a happy medium at the time. So like I'm not a snob about it, but wow, that was bad.
It was bad.
Yeah. Anyways, high sugar intake is linked to obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. Again, the trifecta that mom says should actually be type 3 diabetes. Bad things. Okay. The dietary guidelines for Americans recommend keeping added sugar intake below 10% of your daily calorie intake, while the World Health Organization recommends slashing added sugars to 5% or less of your daily calories for optimal health. And I will admit that, like, in the US, you're really going to have to read labels to get below that 5% because, like, I just think anywhere outside of the US, they don't sneak in as much sugar as they do here. So
it's tough. I mean, even, in peanut butter and things like that, it's just bizarre.
Weird things.
Which is strange because, the dietary guidelines are to keep it under a certain percentage. And it's not for food. I mean, it's literally for your daily calorie intake. Right. And everybody puts sugar in there. And I think it's because, it is because it gets you hooked. And then
they're still trying to sell a product, but it's just.
But I will say, once you spend hours figuring out what foods do not have sugar, like what salsa you buy, what tomato sauce, whatever, then you can go right to it in the store, and it's worth it.
It's and like at this point, I've almost some of that stuff. If I am trying to be quick at the store, if I just see that it was made outside of the US, like I'll like just grab that one over something else because I'm like, well, it'll be a little bit like I don't have time right now, but like especially like marinara sauce, if it's made in Italy, like mom and I had a whole episode on tomatoes. It's like I know this was prepared like without the skin and seeds, like it's just better, and this is what I want right now.
Yes. And I had to run to the store. I was making deviled eggs for a picnic, and somebody wanted pickles in their deviled eggs. I know. So I had to run up to the store, to the closest supermarket, and it took me a little bit to find pickles. There was one, I think it was a Vlasic, and I will praise them because it was number one. They said no GMO, and they put regular sugar in there. And every single one other than that one had high fructose corn syrup in it. I don't know how many times they added it, but it was like for this, for that. It was just unbelievable. It was like the first ingredient. I went, ooh.
Wow.
So
Yikes.
anyway, so you really, and I think we've talked about this before, and maybe in the next episode, I think we're going to talk about high fructose corn syrup, how bad it is for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So limit refined carbs. Not all carbs are created equal. Refined carbs have been highly processed to remove their fiber. They're relatively low in nutrients and may harm your health when eaten in excess. Most ultra processed foods are made from refined carbs like processed corn, white flour, and added sugars. Studies show that a diet high in refined carbs may be linked to overeating, weight gain, and chronic diseases, again, like type 2 diabetes and heart disease.
And then don't fear saturated fats. Saturated fats have been controversial, and in the past, it was thought to be a major contributor to heart disease. While it's true that saturated fats raise cholesterol levels, they also raise the HDL, which is the good cholesterol, and reduce the small, dense LDL, the bad stuff. And the higher the HDL and lower the LDL is linked to lower risks of heart disease. So, emerging research has questioned the association between saturated fat intake and heart disease. It appears that saturated fat may actually have no impact or a slightly positive impact on overall health as long as your overall diet is healthy and nutritionally balanced.
Yes, that all came from a 50s study with Ansel Keys. And he did, I don't know, there was maybe 27 to 57 countries that he analyzed, and he cherry picked 7. And he said, oh, well, you need to go on a low fat and diet and not have saturated fat. And they've proved that wrong. And then so McDonald's used to do their fries and things like that and saturated fat. So they took those out and put corn oil, polyunsaturated fats, seed oils, and inflammation in America and everything has gone up. And those are like the worst because they're the most unstable fats. And saturated fats are very stable. So there's a lot on the internet you can look up about that. So don't be afraid of saturated fat. Of course, you don't want to do anything to an extreme, but I don't know when we're going to talk about it, but seed oils are really the number one public enemy right now in the nutritional world. And they're saying, do not, canola, corn, any vegetable or seed oil, do not use it because it's so inflammatory. So you've got your avocado oil, olive oil, and your saturated fats that they're all recommending. Okay, so we'll move on to lifting weights. Strength and resistance training are some of the best forms of exercises you can do to strengthen your muscles and improve your body composition. It may also lead to important improvements in metabolic health, including improved insulin sensitivity, meaning your blood sugar levels are easier to manage, and increases in your metabolic rate or how many calories you burn at rest. If you do not have weights, you can use your own body weight or resistant bands to create resistance and get a comparable workout with many of the same benefits. The Physical Activity Guidelines for Americans recommends resistance training twice per week. I knew someone once that did isometrics, and all they did was use their own body weight, and they were cut. Let me tell you. Yeah.
I have resistance bands because I had to do PT for my shoulder. So I still use those, and they're very helpful.
Yes, they are.
So also using plenty of herbs and spices in your cooking. Herbs and spices not only provide flavor, but also offer health benefits. For example, ginger and turmeric both have potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects and make a great tea.
Yes, you just mentioned that.
Due to their powerful potential health benefits, you should aim to include a wide variety of herbs and spices in your diet.
Okay. Nurture your social relationships. Social relationships with friends, family, and loved ones you care about are important not only for your mental well being, but also your physical health. Studies show that people who have close friends and family are healthier and live much longer than those who do not.
So shout out to all the ladies who came over for morning brunch today at my
Woohoo!
house. Woo. We were healthy as we ate our pumpkin spice donuts. Woo.
Gluten
But they
free,
were
I take
homemade.
it.
Yeah, they were homemade gluten-free ones, right? So they were organic.
Yay.
Okay. Try to get rid of excess belly fat. Excessive abdominal fat or visceral fat is a uniquely harmful type of fat distribution that is linked to an increased risk of cardiometabolic disease like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. For this reason, your waist size and waist to hip ratio may be a much stronger marker of health than your weight. Cutting refined carbs, eating more protein and fiber, and reducing stress, which can reduce cortisol, a stress hormone that triggers abdominal fat, are all strategies that may help you get rid of belly fat.
Okay, and next is eat whole eggs. Yay. I've gotten to the point where, you know how I like mine? I do 2 hard-boiled eggs. I hard boil them fresh, like right when I want them. And I eat them when they're warm and I eat them that way. I like them.
You know how they're really good?
In the
Scrambled
trash.
in my homemade fried rice.
Okay.
In the
You're
trash.
not, well,
No,
you don't like eggs, do you?
no, just not by themselves. So again, like I
Okay.
made homemade fried rice with all natural stuff.
Oh, nice.
And I enjoyed having the eggs in there.
Nice. Okay, so despite the constant back and forth about eggs and health, it's a myth that eggs are bad for you because of their cholesterol content. Studies show that they have minimal effect on blood cholesterol in the majority of people, and they're a great source of protein and nutrients. Additionally, a review involving 938,000 people found that egg intake had no association with heart disease risk. Do you want to hear a story now about eggs that happened recently?
Uh-oh.
I know, but you don't have to worry. Your aunt never listens to this
Yes,
podcast.
yes,
So
yes,
we
yes,
can,
yes.
but you know who does? Your cousin. So she may, you know, say something to her.
Don't say anything. You know who you are.
So your grandmother and I were out roaming the countryside the other weekend, and we came upon these people who had antiques, but they also, during this time of year, the lady had a garden, so we got amazing produce, like 4 huge bell peppers for $1, things like that. They had tomatoes, they had, whatever, and chickens, and we got to meet the chickens. So they had fresh eggs literally from that morning, and I love fresh eggs. So we got 2 dozen, and then she went home to her house, and I have mine. And she said that when I called her, your aunt asked her, where did you get those eggs? And she goes, oh, we got them out this morning when we were on a farm, whatever. And she goes, okay, well, you can keep your eggs over there and I'll just eat mine. When they usually, they go to the store, they do get organic eggs, but I know.
Okay, can we talk about how she had chickens?
I know, that's what your grandmother said.
What?
And so your grandmother's like, well, why don't you want to eat these eggs? And she goes, just put them over there. I'll eat my own eggs. And she wouldn't tell her why. I mean, at least if you're going to say something like that, you should say.
I hope it's more like my husband used to raise chickens and eggs, and so I don't feel like a sad instead of a.
I don't know. I don't know why you want to keep your reasoning secret, because if someone put something in my fridge that I didn't want to eat, I'd tell them why,
I'm gonna make my husband ask her next time. They're best buds. So
so anyway, if your cousin hears this, I think she's gonna know what we're talking about.
Okay,
but
well, she should ask her. I want to know.
I know. I thought that was very strange, and they're really good. I've been eating them all week. So
Well, anyways, I guess all of us need a little meditation right now. So another great thing to help your health. Stress has such a negative effect on our health. It can affect blood sugar levels, food choices, susceptibility to sickness, weight, fat distribution, and more. So, for this reason, it's important to find healthy ways to manage your stress. Meditation is one such way, and it has scientific evidence to support its use for stress management and improving health. In one study involving 48 people with high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, or both, researchers found that meditation helped lower LDL, the bad cholesterol, and inflammation compared with the control group. Additionally, the participants in the meditation group reported improved mental and physical wellness. So, yeah, I think meditation is really cool. And again, I think I don't know if we've done an episode just on meditation, but we've talked about it a lot. I think maybe like a stress relief episode. And there are so many just like free YouTube videos that you can throw on and just find one with someone's voice that you like and doesn't also stress you out. Because I get it, there's some voices that are just annoying. So
some people probably think ours are annoying.
Exactly. They're not listening, so it's fine.
But you find ones, yes, that you resonate with.
Yep.
And there are so many resources out there. And I tell them for breathing too. I was telling someone the other day, I forget what technique I was talking about. Oh, clearing your lymph nodes. And I showed them, but I said, you know what? Go on YouTube. There's so many, YouTube videos for that, and find the one that you resonate with and that you're going to actually do.
Right.
So, okay. So these tips come up time and again in our podcast, and that is because they are related to so many health benefits. A lot of times, it really is just a simple adjustment, and you are on your way to better health. Regardless of how far you need to go to feel better, just start now. Stick with it and watch your health change in a positive direction. It does take time. There is no perfect time to start. So just start now with one of the tips Dalaney and I gave you. A few simple steps can go a long way toward improving your wellness. And remember, don't just focus on the foods you eat. Remember, exercise, sleep, and social relationships are also important. So slowly introduce these small changes into your life and notice the impact on your overall health. And of course, leave us a comment and let us know how these tips have changed your life for the better.
Well, thanks everyone for listening. And again, we want to hear from you guys. We always want to hear from you guys. Please, please, please reach out to us. And here are just a few ways that you can do that. You can reach out via Instagram and Facebook. Find us at Salty About Health. Even Snapchat at Salty Health. You can email us at saltyabouthealth@gmail.com. Or if you just want to find all that in one place, check out our website, saltyabouthealth.com. We've got all the ways for you to listen and connect there. And finally, if you like what you hear today, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. We really appreciate it. So, Mom, if they want to hear from you on social media, where can they find you?
Okay, I am a certified health coach and I do coach one-on-one. So if you're interested, you can contact me at mary@feedyourselfhealthy.com. I also do research for people who are interested in finding alternative approaches to do in conjunction with the health issue or illness their doctor is treating them for. So again, just reach out to me at mary@feedyourselfhealthy.com.
And of course, I'll be the one mainly keeping an eye on the social media. So always happy to chat with you guys via the Salty Network. Also, just want to shout out our intro and outro music. It is by Yule, and you can find her at www.yulearts.com. That's EULARTS. You can also find her on Instagram at Yule_arts or Spotify and YouTube. Check her out. Her piano music and everything else is amazing. And until next time, stay salty.
Stay salty.